My name is Tatiana Cardenas, and we're talking about GMO products and foods. What is a GMO? GMO stands for genetically modified organisms. They are living organisms whose genetic material has been artificially manipulated in a laboratory by the process of genetic engineering. This means that people are altering the DNA of these organisms, creating relatively unstable combinations of plant, animal, bacteria, and viral genes that do not occur naturally. A large amount of evidence connects GMOs with health problems, environmental damage, and violation of consumers' rights. It has been found that although most consumers would like to be able to determine if the product they are purchasing contains GMOs, labeling these products has not yet been deemed mandatory. Despite the fact that most developed nations do not consider GMOs to be safe, the U.S. government has approved GMOs based on the studies conducted by the same companies that created them. These are the same companies that profit from their sale. Now that we know what a GMO is, we will be looking at the pros and cons of GMOs, as well as which foods contain them and which do not.
My name is Drew Johnson, and I will be talking about the pros in GMO foods. One major pro to having GMO in our foods would be that they are more thoroughly tested foods on the market for everyone. We also have more food with these plants. It helps farmers boost their yield by making crops that can live through a drought or the cold and resist disease. Scientists say that GM products will help us feed the extra 2 billion people that will fill the planet by 2050. Having GMO in foods is also less stress on our environment. Scientists tell us that using science is better than older farming methods. Crops built to resist pests lower farmers' need for toxic chemical pesticides. It also requires less soil to be tilled. It reduces our runoff and keeps our soil in place. Our last pro would be we get better products. Scientists can create crops that contain vital nutrients and prevent our foods from molding and going bad, making them last longer.
My name is Stephanie Halomo, and I will be talking about the cons of GMOs. The lack of consumer consent and the choice to eat GMO foods creates an ethical dilemma because of the fact that GMO foods are not labeled. According to research, about 80% of prepackaged food in a grocery store contains genetically modified foods. These genetically modified organisms have had new genes from other organisms added to their existing genes. Because GMOs mix, this can cause allergic reactions to the people consuming it. Adding proteins from one organism you were originally allergic to another that you weren't will cause the same allergic reaction. Another major concern is the fact that GMOs have had antibiotic features built into them to make them resistant to diseases. But when people start to consume them, this may decrease the effectiveness of antibiotics in their bodies. The risk that the modified genes escape into the wild, creating super organisms and competing with nature animals and plants, driving certain species into extinction. GM groups have cost the United States an estimated $12 billion in form of subsidized lost sales and product recalls due to transgenic contamination.
My name is Brianna, and I will be discussing the foods that have GMO. Today, not many people know what GMO is or even which crops and ingredients are at risk. Corn, soybeans, sugar, papayas, canolas, cotton, potatoes, tomatoes, zucchinis, yellow squash, rice, and salmon are at the top of the list of the many foods that are at risk for GMO. Others that include GMO would include baby formula, canned soup, sweetened juice, cereals, vegetable oils, and meat. And if you're not If you're looking for foods that are not at risk, look at the labels on your foods. Make sure that it is a certified USDA organic product. If it is, then it's non GMO. Another way to seek for local farmers is to seek for local farmers and booths at farmers markets, where you can be sure that crops aren't GMO. And if you can't find any places that have organic foods that aren't GMO, an even better way to make sure that you're not consuming GMO products is to start organic gardening and grow your foods yourself. Although buying and producing organic products may cost a lot and be expensive, it is way better for you and your family. So today we explained what GMO is, the pros and cons of GMO, what foods to avoid that have GMO, and how you can be sure you're not consuming any GMO products. After knowing the facts about genetically modified organisms, you can decide whether or not you want to consume them.